Okay guys, so this is the sleeve. I'm done making the sleeve for one part, and this is the puff area. Okay, so this is the side seam of the sleeve, and this is the center part of the sleeve. You can see the pleats that we have here, hence the 2 inches I left before I drafted the sleeve pattern. So I'm going to do the other side. I would make a video for the other side so we can see it. Okay, so this is the sleeve. What I have on fold, I'm cutting 2 sleeves together. Okay, so what I have on fold is the round bicep, the biggest part, divided by 2 plus 4 inches. Okay, plus 4 inches. So at this midpoint now, I'll measure 2 inches all the way to the length of the sleeve. The length of the sleeve is 24 inches. Okay, so this is my 24 inches. I'll roll this line out right here. So this 2 inches, I'll just mark this out because I need it for my pleats on the midpoint all the way up. Okay. Then I will mark this part out, which is my top line for the dress, for the sleeve, pardon me. So I will mark the depth of my armhole or my bicep point where I will place my round armhole. So for her, she's a shoulder 8, so we'll be using shoulder 16, which is 8. We'll be using 4.5 for her. Okay, she's not on the big side. We're using 4.5 for her. So at this point, we'll input my round sleeve, the biggest part of her arm width at the armhole part. I will input that, which is at 7.75. We have it to be 15.5, so which is at 7.75. Okay, plus 2 inches. Plus 2 inches. Okay, so after that, I'll divide what I have here into 2. That would serve as my elbow, sorry. Okay, so whatever it is I have here, I will just minus 1, which is 6.75, plus my sewing allowance, which is at 1.2. This time around is not 1.5. Okay, so it's going to be looking like this. So I want this part to be an A shape. So whatever it is I have here, 8.25. So I will just use whatever it is I have here to form an A shape. Okay, I wanted to add plus 2 or plus 3, but I have little here, so I'll just take this out. Okay, I'll just take this out. I'm not cutting too much, please. And at this point, I will come out 0.75 to reduce the sharpness of the A shape and merge it to this part. Okay, so I know you'll be wondering why we have this at the midpoint. It's for us to form a box split. The box split will stop. I'll stop sewing the pleats at this part. I'll show that to us when I'm making this. Okay, so from this part now, you want to now form your armhole curve. You know, this is where this one stops. At the beginning of your top line for your shirt, you come out 0.5 for a small size, around the shoulder around 8, and so okay, and you made it to this part. I have a tutorial on the sleeve, class on my channel, a well detailed tutorial. So I'm just rushing this because this is basic boards. You still have some twists to it. So I will divide whatever it is I have here into 2, which is what you're seeing here. I'll still go ahead and divide from here to the midpoint, to this point where we started from, into 2 as well. Okay, so we have 1 here. So whatever it is I have from here to here will be the same thing I'm going to have from here to here. Okay, so at this point now, I'll come at 0.5. I already have a tutorial. I know it's confusing, but please refer back to that tutorial. Come out 0.5 here. I will come in 0.5, and I'll make a merge from the tip here. I'll make a merge. Okay, I'll make it to this part. So this is how it's going to look. This is our basic sleeve by the time I want to cut out. But I want to add some puff to the upper part. Okay, so at this point now, I'll go up 3.5 inches. I can also do 4. If you don't want your puff to be too puffy, whatever it is you have from here, which is 1.5, you can use half of that. Okay, or you can go ahead and use whatever it is you have from here to here, of course. But let's just use 3.5. Okay, from this 3.5 now, I'll connect from here to this midpoint. So let me align this. So from this 3.5, I'll connect from here to this midpoint of sleeve. This will help me create my puff on my sleeve. Okay, so we're now cutting on here and not here anymore. Okay, so on here and not here anymore. So I'll go ahead and cut out now. So I'll cut from the lower part which is the hem. I follow that curve which I made. At this point, I'll make a notch, so I know that is where my pleats are meeting each other. And here also I'll cut. I'll cut this out. Sorry. So we have this in our sleeve. So I'll notch here as well. This 2 inches I made here, I'll take it all the way to the top. It's continuous, okay? It's continuous. So I'll notch this 3 inches. So I'll show us on the machine when I want to make this part. So we're about to make this side of the sleeve. So this was the 2 inches I marked out before making the sleeve, okay? So we're going to sew on this 2 inches. So this is the elbow side, if you remember from the sleeve drafting. We're going to, so just mark all these lines, have them in mind. So we start sewing on this 2 inches, okay? I hope you can see very well. So I'll just follow the 2 inches downwards. Follow the shape of what you have. Follow the, so when I get to this elbow part, okay? This is the elbow part, and this is where the mark is. I will back stitch. I'll back stitch here very well, okay? Then I'll turn my machine to my gather stitch, and sew gather stitch all the way down. And this I can lose by the time I'm done from this part to this part, okay? So I'm just sewing my gather stitch on this part. I'm done weaving and ironing, so I'll bring my sleeve now. This is the part that is protruding out of the sleeve. I will just hold it down so it doesn't disturb me when I'm fixing it to the bodice to my bodice, right? So I will hold it down on both sides. Just follow the shape. I can trim out the excess that is here. So after which, I'll get my bodice now. So I will fix my sleeve into my body. So automatically, this center part where the pleat is joining will be my midpoint. Okay, I already know that will be my midpoint, and this is the midpoint of my shoulder as well. I'll fold my shoulder into 2. For my midpoint, I will mark 1.5. My midpoint, I will mark 1.5 on both sides. That is where I will make my pleats on, and I will notch that 1.5. Okay, so when placing my sleeve now, I will place it from my armhole. Make sure these two parts are meeting, the side seam are meeting each other from my armhole part. And I will take this midpoint and meet to this midpoint of my bodice, my blouse. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel if you've not done that. So I'll take my pins round. Making sure I'll take my armhole round, making sure it's fitted to my sleeve, to my armhole. So any other excess you have here will now be the one you will pleat. Any excess you have on your sleeve will be the one I will pleat. Okay, so at this notch point, my pleats will start from this notch point to this other notch point. So I will pleat every other excess I have on my sleeve. Now that is what I will do. I will take my pin as well, do this part so that I can know which other excess I have on this part and sew it all around to have the pleat, to have that puff you have on the blouse. So I'll start this other pleat from this 1.5 here. Okay, you can see how easy it is. So now I'll follow the shape of my armhole. This is how I sew my basic sleeve. whether with puff or whether without puff, which is how I make my sleeve. I just come down and make my sleeve. So I'll take that shape all the way around. So I'm getting to that notch point. Remember, that's where my pleats will start from. So this is my notch point. I'll start pleating. I'll make a minimum of 3 pleats on each side, so it balances off on the shoulder line. I'm done with this part now. I'll just take my half an inch. I'm done with this part now. I'll just take my half an inch all the way to my armhole. So I'm back at the armhole. So I'll lock my stitch. This is all we have by the time you're done sewing. So I would go ahead, reduce the seam around the armhole so I can weave. I always like to leave my seam very tiny. So you can see the armhole part is meeting together. That is how you make a good sleeve. You can see the puff effect. It's giving us 3 on this side, 3 on this other side. By the time she wears it now, it should be fitted on her shoulder. It will be standing on her shoulder. So this is both sleeve, okay? So now what to do next now is go ahead, loosen that gather stitch which we made on this part. I will loosen my gather stitch. Remember when we're sewing this, when we're making this 2 inches, we stopped at the elbow part and we continued with the gather stitch. I'll just go ahead, lift off this gather stitch which I made, okay? So definitely when you get to that place where you overlocked, it will stop there. It will stop there. So I think we're there already. You can see it's there already. So this is how your sleeve will be looking like. You can see the pleats. So by the time she wears it, it will be opening like this. So I'll go ahead now and close my lower part, which is the hem of the sleeve. You can see I've weaved it, it's looking neat, so I'll just close up by half an inch, not even up to half an inch. Okay? I'll just close it, and that will be the end of this video. If the tutorial has been very helpful to you, please like, share, subscribe to our channel, and always stay glued to our channels for useful tips on sewing. Thank you guys. God bless us all. Bye bye.